more or less correct. However, because the main window hasn't been changed yet, so I need to remove the main window size here as well. So as soon as I remove the main window size, as you can see, everything is automatically wrapped around all the children's here. Right? You can see that the size looks pretty good right now, except that this viewport and the stack panel here, it's not necessarily aligned in the center. I want it to align in the center. Okay, so for this stack panel right here, so what I want is I want the first stack panel here. I want this stack panel, which is the parent of that, and inside of whatever cells inside will be aligned in the center. So I can look at here and looking for the properties. Okay. So instead of the horizontal alignment, I'm fine with it. So what I'm looking for is the vertical alignment. So in here, the vertical alignment, instead of stretch, I can say center. So as soon as I say center, okay, you can see that it is, the whole thing has been moved down centered. And the second thing I want to change is that I want to remove the size of this stack panels, because I don't really care about the size. I want the text itself to determine the size. So as soon as I remove that, you can see that because it's a viewport, right, it automatically zoom in to the maximum size it can have. So this is the maximum size it can have, because the width of the text is 120. Okay, so again, I don't really care about the height. Let me remove the height. Okay, and then it will specify it according to this size. Okay, so now I have basically the structure of all the elements I wanted. Okay, and now I can go back and started to modify the code that actually connected to this GUI interface. So one thing I want to be able to add is that after the main window has been loaded, I want to be able to call some methods. And also when the main window, after it's been closed, I want to call some methods. Right? So I want to associate basically two events and its corresponding code to the main window. So how do I do that? Well, I can basically click on the main window. This will actually bring me to the properties of the main window. And on the top of the property here, you see that there's a property tab and there's events tab. Okay, so I want to introduce two events that I want to be able to link it to this window. So if I click on the event tab, it shows me all the events that's possible I can use to deal with this window. You can see that there are many events. For example, if you have a mouse down on this window, it will actually, you can create a message on the mouse down. Right? So let's say we double click on that, it actually creates a mouse down event. Okay. However, here we don't really care about mouse down, so let's remove that. And let's go back. What we care is that we want something about when the window is loaded. We want to do something. So let's do a window loaded method. And also when the window is closed, we also want to do something. So let's say closed. Okay, so these two methods have been created. Okay. Now we have windows loaded and windows closed, and you can see that here we have mouse down equal to Windows mouse down, loaded equal to Windows loaded, closed equal to window closed. But actually mouse down we deleted, so we actually don't need it. So let's just remove that. Okay. So this allows us to associate events with the code directly. Okay. All right. So now we have associate these two codes. Let's go back to the code, and then let's try to copy and paste the corresponding components into the code. Okay. So let me resize this window and make it smaller. Okay. And let me resize this window and then place on the side. Okay. For the sake, I will just basically, for now, I will close those two components and only show you the code. Okay, this is the skeleton code. Okay, so let's compare those two things right here. Right. So the skeleton code is reference to the Microsoft Research Kinect. We have that already. The main window initialized components were the same. Okay, there's a number of variables initialized. We don't have that. Windows loaded has been basically defined right here, which we haven't defined here. And then there's a bunch of helper methods, plus 3 event handlers. Okay, and then there's a Windows close method, which we also have scattered here. So the first thing we want to do is we want to define the Windows loaded method. Okay, so let's go back to the Windows loaded method. Well, before we actually do the Windows loaded method, what we want to do is actually copy all these parameters to our file here. So we'll copy it after the initialize. Okay, so basically what this does is that actually I will close those two as well for now. Okay, later on I can always bring them back. Okay, so it's defining a runtime, which is the instance of Kinect, and then some global variables. Also defines the depth frame, and also defines a dictionary of the joint colors. Okay. Okay, that's that. And now we go to the Windows loaded method. And in the Windows loaded method, as you can see that the first thing we want to do, we want to actually initialize the Kinect. Okay. And then not only just initialize that, we also want to set this property, and also we first create instance, now we initialize and set a property. Okay, so it calls the initialize, and with the approximate with the proper reference to these. Okay, including we use the depth and players index, scattering tracking, as well as use color. So we're actually getting the depth image and RGB images from the Kinect. Okay, then if the initializing is successful, we will just move on. If it's not successful, we will actually show you a kind of a text message, a message to show that it's not successful. So after that, we actually want to open those two video streams. Right? As we actually know, a Kinect machine has the video stream, which is the RGB camera in the middle, and also the depth stream, which is the 2 depth cameras that next to the video stream. So we want to open those both streams, and we use 2 buffers, and we specify the resolution for that, and specify the type of information we will get from this raw data. Okay, so this is the next step. And after that, what we want to do is we wanted to record. Once we initialize that, right, we want to record the first frame's time. Okay, that's called the last time. And then after that, we want to basically add the 3 event handlers to the 3 type of events that we can handle, which is the first one is the new dot depth string ready. Okay, so this is the event handler we want to do, and we want to. So this is how C# adds a kind of the event handling method to the callback of the depth frame ready method. Okay. So it actually allows us to. It tells you automatically how this thing should be generated, because we have this, and this is the proper protocols to actually add a kind of callback or event handling method to this method. Okay, so it says that we'll press tab to insert. So we just press tab, and it inserts this event handler, and then it generates a kind of automatic step